Yo, what's good? What's good? Yo, let me know what y'all thought about the first round games. Let me know what y'all thought about everything we saw this weekend. Cause me personally, this proves my probably biggest point I've had about this entire playoff, which is we did not need 12 teams in it at all. There were not 12 teams good enough this year, not 12 teams good enough last year, not 12 teams good enough ever really. So uh yeah, that is 1000% a problem. Problem that needs solving. I don't really know how you solve it. I think you maybe go. Actually, no, I know how you. I know exactly how you would solve it. You go six teams. Six teams. That's all you need. You don't need. Dog. You don't need 12 teams to figure out who's the best team in the country. Like, let's be real. Anyone from seven to maybe, let's call it after that, seven after that, like they're not winning they weren't winning the championship. I think it was pretty ridiculous. We convinced ourselves that they would. Uh, hey, what's funny? So I said Ohio State was gonna beat Tennessee. I thought it was gonna be pretty handily. The quarterback was exactly why. I did not think the passing game was good enough. I didn't think they were gonna really be able to run the ball in Ohio State. Uh, nah, Dark. You know, SEC apologists are never done. It's always they're always gonna be caping for the SEC. But no, I for sure think that this loss proves that the ninth best team in the. I don't even know if they're the ninth best team, but whatever they were, what's the rankings? Yeah, so Tennessee was seven, right? So I think the cutoff point should be at six. Top six teams, you play for the championship. Everyone else, you play in bowl games. Uh, Tennessee, all year I've watched them, have not looked like they have not looked good all year. People said I was crazy when I said that. Uh, like their best wins over Alabama, who Bama hasn't looked great. Other than that, like, let's be real. Lost or beat Oklahoma 25-15. Not super impressive. Beat Arkansas 19-14. Awful. Beat Alabama 24-17. Okay, that's an impressive win, I guess you can say. Kentucky 28-18. Not super impressive. Mississippi State 33-14. Pretty sure Toledo beat them worse. Georgia lost 31-17. Game they were kind of handled. Then they beat UTEP and Vanderbilt. Like Tennessee was not a great team by any stretch. They beat Bama, which is what causes people to say they're a good team. Other than that, bro, they haven't looked good all year. Like they have not looked like a good team. Uh, Indiana, we all saw that coming, but I think any team up here is doing the same thing. Boise State, they haven't played yet. Arizona State hasn't played yet, but I think we're going to see something similar. High key, SMU, even though the game was a blowout, I thought they probably played the best out of anybody to start at least. Like that game, if SMU doesn't throw one of the two pick sixes, if they score that quarterback, hits a completion or just runs it for a first down, I think they win that game. Or not win the game. They don't win the game, but it's much closer, right? So I don't think that was probably this out of all the teams that were playing in the first round that were the lower seeds. This was probably the game where it's like, all right, you guys showed me the most of like, okay, you can do something here. I guess Clemson too. No, I'd say Clemson actually. I would say Clemson. But SMU was moving the ball. SMU was moving the ball. They got the stop. Like they just had some really, really unfortunate, untimely turnovers. Quarterback made some awful decisions that you just can't make in a game like that. But no, so we got the bracket though for the second round, the quarterfinals. We got Texas, Arizona State, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Boise State, Notre Dame, Georgia. Who y'all got winning these games, man? Who y'all got winning? Who y'all got? I think me personally, it's gonna be a quick stream, by the way. I just want to get on and say some stuff. Really, it was to record, but I was like, I might as well stream too. But Texas, Arizona State. I think Texas wins this one pretty handily. I see them covering. I think it's gonna be like a 21-point game. Ohio State, Oregon. I got Oregon winning again. I think it'll be another close game. I think, bro, whatever Tennessee's game plan was for this game, like whatever it was, it's like, all right, whatever Michigan did before the week before, let's not do that. Let's run the man coverage scheme that got Michigan cooked in 26 or 2017, 2018, 2019. Let's do that. single cover Jeremiah Smith, let him just beat us over the top. And then their offense, like I said before, Tennessee's offense, garbage, dog shit. It's kind of been like that all year. They were in the SEC, so people gave them the benefit of the doubt. They shouldn't have had it at all. But Penn State, Boise State, I like Penn State. I think this one will be a little bit closer than people think. I still like Penn State to win kind of handily, though. And then Notre Dame, Georgia. I said it before. I'm sticking with it. I'm picking Notre Dame. So I picked Notre Dame when the bracket first released to win this game before it was even released that Carson Beck was going to be out. I got Notre Dame beating Georgia. I think, especially with Beck being out, I don't think Georgia's receivers are going to do anything on Notre Dame's DBs. Notre Dame has a matchup there. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball really as well as they want to. So I think Notre Dame has the matchup there. So I think Notre Dame's defense is just better in general than Georgia's offense. I think Notre Dame can run the ball. I think Riley Leonard presents enough of a threat passing the ball, but mostly running the ball for them to sustain enough offense and score enough points to win. Like, I don't think it's going to be a super high scoring game. I don't think it needs to be for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame gets over 20 points. I think they win the game. I think they hold Georgia under 20. I'm seeing like 14-17. See, I don't think Ohio State. So Ohio State did play like that. Yes, Ohio State played very well. Tennessee's offense is garbage. Oregon's offense is light years better than Tennessee's. Like, it's not even a comparison how much better Oregon's offense is than Tennessee's. Oregon, I think their defensive scheme is way better. I don't think they're gonna let Jeremiah Smith just run fades and be one-on-one the entire time. I think they have better corners though, even to match up with them. So yeah, Tennessee, they're an SEC team, bro. They have not been that good all year. Like, Tennessee, SEC, 2 losses were like, oh, they're great. They're phenomenal. They beat Bama. Tennessee was not good. Like, they were not a good team. In any other year, them not making the field would have been like, all right, cool, whatever. This year it was a 12 team. So it's like, okay, they have to make the field. But Tennessee was not good. Tennessee was not good. Hey, Logan. Hey, this definitely good yaps. Definitely good yaps. But that's what post 11:30 streams is. They just great yaps. Straight yapping sessions. Mela, I wasn't on live today. I was on stream 2 nights ago, I think. But I'm gonna be on stream on Monday. Monday for sure. Yes, I am, or I was a safety, I guess. I guess you say I still am a safety. Yeah. 2 nights ago. I was on for a minute too. I was playing for probably I think I was on for 3 hours playing the game. Then I was streaming 2 hours in the day earlier. But nah, definitely not go Bucks. I was definitely hoping I picked Ohio State to win. I thought Ohio State was gonna win pretty handily. Wanted Tennessee to win, but I'm happy all the SEC narratives got shut up because it was starting to get bad earlier today. It was starting to really piss me off. Let's go through Twitter, see what SEC talking about. Okay, I'm an LSU graduate, major SEC guy. Here's my question: is Lane and everyone else gonna crush Tennessee the same way they've been shitting on the other teams that lost this weekend? Because probably not. Let's see. I'm waiting for Kirk Herbstreit to say Tennessee was outclassed the same way he did Indiana. Nope, they have to keep the narrative, otherwise ESPN will not be happy. Of course, they're not yet. No, bro, they're not. The SEC just wasn't that great this year. Point blank period. Their best team, or the conference champion Georgia, definitely looked, had its warts. Looked like a team that was very flawed. Texas, another flawed team. Who else we have? Tennessee, super flawed. I thought Tennessee was probably, out of all the teams that were in contention to make the playoffs in the SEC, so you have Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. I thought Tennessee was the worst one. I thought they beat Bama, but Bama was very up and down. I didn't think Bama was that great either this year. I thought Bama's highs were probably higher, but they definitely had more of a potential to hit their lows. But I definitely did not think Tennessee was good. I've been saying all year, I don't think Nico's a great quarterback. I don't think Nico's a great quarterback. I don't think their offense is that great as a whole. I don't think they have the same weapons they did a couple years back. They weren't that great. They weren't that great is what it is. We're going to talk about how the 10-2 SEC team had the worst loss of the weekend. That is absolutely facts. Let's retweet that. Because, no, Tennessee definitely looked the worst out of any team in the field so far. And that includes Indiana, that includes SMU. Gabe, nah, Michigan definitely would be in the playoff. Michigan shouldn't have been in the playoffs, but no. I mean, last year's Michigan team I would have picked them to easily win this field. I think last year's Michigan easily wins this bracket. Not even really close. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I think Drew Allar, I think he has his moments. There's too many times where passes are just like, so poorly thrown, or he makes a poor decision that costs his team. Like, I think he has great potential. I just don't think he's put it all together yet. He's still young. It's only his third year, but I don't see Drew Allar being good enough to lead Penn State to a national championship. I think if he was a little bit better, I could see that, but I don't think Drew Allar is good enough. I don't think the rest of their team, specifically their offense, is good enough for him to kind of get carried by them either. So, like, I would say Stetson Bennett, when he was at Georgia, it's not like he was like a world beater. There were better quarterbacks in the country, but the team around him was talented enough to where, some of his flaws were hidden and he didn't have to be Superman. I think Drew Allar, for this Penn State team to win a championship, would have to be Superman. I don't think he has it in him. Now, Nico is a redshirt freshman. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I'm saying for what he is right now, he's not that good of a quarterback. And I think that kind of showed all year with Tennessee, which is why Tennessee didn't really look great on offense that much this year. Like, once you got to the SEC, their passing attack was very, very mediocre, pedestrian. And it showed tonight. Like, Ohio State, I don't think they feared him throwing the ball at all. The only success Nico had was running it. And it just did not work out, really. Did not work out for them. And yeah, I think Ohio State was just a much better team. Now, playing in certain environments are different. Some defenses are different. I think Tennessee just doesn't have the players to match up with the best defenses in the country. I mean, like, against Georgia, you saw them struggle. Against Texas, I think they would struggle. Against Penn State, I think they would struggle. Notre Dame, I think they're struggling. Like, those are the teams I just think are better and have more talent than them. Like, I think Notre Dame, yes, they lost to Northern Illinois, but that was, hey, it happened. They lost, but they moved on from it pretty well. They've showed, like, they have some legitimate talent on their team, especially in the back end, especially in their backfield. Like, their two running backs might be, pound for pound, I might take their two running backs on Notre Dame over the two on Ohio State. I think Love and Price, I think that's it. Yeah, Love and Price are better than Henderson and Judkins. That's just me, though. I think those two are better. Not by much. I'm not saying Judkins and Henderson are bad. I'm just saying I think those two are better. Yeah, no, I don't see Ohio State beating Oregon. Let me see. You scroll up through chat. I do think Boise State Cinderella story is gonna end. I think, luckily though, I think out of all the teams they could have played that won in the first round, they got their best matchup playing Penn State. I think Penn State's just too talented, especially on their D line. I think it's just too much talent for Boise State to overcome. But I do think if Boise State could have upset any team that won in the first round, it would be Penn State. I think Penn State's going to win, and it's going to be handily. Now, Boise State's definitely losing to Penn State. My Ohio State prediction, I'm saying I think Oregon's going to win another close one. I like Dillon Gabriel as a quarterback more than Will Howard. So in, like, playoff football, I say, like, in the NFL, I feel like this. I think college has kind of become this way too, where I think you need a quarterback that is a true difference maker. I think Will Howard's just too inconsistent. I think Dillon Gabriel's consistency is a little bit better. They have the offensive weapons that really challenge Ohio State's secondary. They have a scheme that can do it. I don't think Tennessee really presented any challenge for Ohio State like Oregon did. We've already seen Oregon do, and like they will. I think Oregon can run the ball much better. Like I said, Dillon Gabriel, he's a baller. He's probably the best quarterback in the field right now. Yeah, I would say Dillon Gabriel's the best quarterback in the field. I like him. Like Ewers, he makes a lot of questionable decisions. Levitt's cool. Will Howard, I think he's inconsistent. I don't think he's the greatest, especially against better defenses. Drew Allar, no. Maddox Masson, no. What's his name? Who's Riley Leonard? I don't think he's. I think he's kind of like I think he's pretty much like Will Howard. He's pretty close to Will Howard to me. Maybe a little bit better of a runner. And then Georgia has their backup quarterback playing, but I think Oregon wins that game. Hey, no, that's hey, wait, who said it? Who said it? Uh, I do. Where is it? Where is it? Now, I think Oregon is beating Georgia. Or I think Notre Dame's beating Georgia. I think Notre Dame has the team that can beat Georgia. I've been saying this. I said this like 2 weeks ago. Georgia's rush defense isn't what it's been the last few years. They don't have the same dogs on defense that they did, especially on the D line. And then I think Notre Dame has the backfield to be able to really run the ball. I think between Leonard, Price, and Love, they're going to be able to run. I think, too, that their passing game has gotten better over the course of the year. So when they played Northern Illinois, I don't think Riley Leonard was that good throwing the ball. It's gotten much better. So I think Notre Dame wins that game. I think Notre Dame wins. I think no. So I don't think it's SMU was a fraud or that Penn State's legit. I think that there is a very fine cutoff line. There is a very fine cutoff line for the playoffs, and it's at 6 teams. Once you get past these 6 teams, I don't think anyone under them was really going to compete for a championship. Like you could say Bama on their best day, Ole Miss on their best day, South Carolina on their best day, but they showed a lot of their non-best days. Yeah, I think anyone under 6, I don't really think they would have made a difference. I think these 6 teams kind of separated themselves from everyone else over the course of the year. I personally think it should just be a 16 playoff. I think in most years, the 6 teams would have been fine. Like if we look at last year, 6 teams, we have Michigan, Washington, Texas, Georgia, Bama, Florida State. That's good, right? Oregon, they lost the conference championship game against Washington, so that was a de facto, playing game. Ohio State lost to Michigan 2 weeks before. That was a de facto playing game. So, yeah, we got a good 6 teams to go to the playoff with. The year before, Georgia, TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, Tennessee. I think that's another year where it's a 6 teams would have been fine. Penn State lost to both Michigan and Ohio State. Washington, I forgot who they lost to, but, I think that it works out that way. Let's look at 21. 21, you got Georgia, Bama, Michigan, Cincinnati, Baylor, Ohio State. That's probably, 6 teams. It doesn't need to be any more than 6 teams. There's really not 6 teams that can win a championship. A lot of years, there's been 2 or 3 teams that can win a championship. So 12 teams. We were going to get this in the first round regardless. We were going to get a bunch of blowouts of teams that were capable of making especially with the bye system, right? Because the bye system, you gave Arizona State and Boise State the byes when Texas and Ohio State and Penn State should have been ranked higher. So, Arizona State, no, I don't think they're going to win. Boise State, they're not going to win. It's probably going to look similar to these games right here. So, really, Ohio State, Penn State, handily won. Notre Dame, handily won. Texas, handily won. All those teams were in the top 6. So, I think 6 would have been fine. Anything more than 6, we're just going to get a bunch of blowouts and a bunch of teams that shouldn't have been in the playoffs. So, I don't think we're ever going to get it to a point where the first round is going to not be boring. So you could say, oh, let's put the, let's get rid of the auto buys. So then in that case, you have Arizona State playing against Clemson, let's say. All right, the winner of that probably plays who? Texas? Okay, now that just ends up being a blowout the next game. So you're going to have with 12 teams, you're going to have some blowout somewhere. They're going to be teams that end up playing games where they're just not as good as the top 6 teams, and they end up getting blown out. That's just what it is. What does Penn State need to be a national championship contender? They need a better receiving core and a better quarterback. So I don't think Drew Allar is bad. I think he has a lot of tools, a lot of potential. He's just not elite yet. He's too inconsistent, and their receiving core is not dynamic. I played against the Penn State team that had who'd they have? They had Jahan Dotson, KJ Hamler. Who's the tall receiver? I think Justin Shorter, a 5-star. So they had a lot of talent. I don't think they have the same talent level. They don't have the same guys that can win one-on-one matchups. If Penn State has to play Georgia or Notre Dame, I think their offense is getting put in the box. No, Ohio State could have won the first game, but they also could have lost it. I think Dan Lanning's a better coach than Ryan Day. I think Dylan Gabriel's a better quarterback than Will Howard. And that's what pushes them over the edge. I think most other things between the two teams are a wash. I think Both teams have phenomenal offensive weapons. Both teams have great defensive weapons. I think Oregon's quarterback and coach, just those two intangible like things, kind of set them apart from Ohio State. Not set them apart, but they elevate them over Ohio State. Now they got the bracket. So fixing the bracket next year is not as simple as just put the Alabama in, right? Because I don't think Alabama was that great this year. I think Alabama had. I mean, they showed it against Oklahoma. They have the potential to not play well at all, like play a dud. So what's to say Alabama plays like they replace Clemson, they play Texas? What's to say Alabama doesn't do the same thing? Texas is a better defense than Oklahoma, better offense than Oklahoma. What's to say Texas doesn't do the same thing? Like, see, completion percentage is such a misleading stat because Ohio State, they don't really. Ohio State hasn't played too many teams that like he would have to like be legit against. So they played Oregon. In the Oregon game, 28-35, 326, 2 touchdowns, right? Good game. Penn State. 16-24, 182, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, a decent game. Not like the greatest. Obviously not pushing the ball downfield with only 182 yards. And then we look at the Michigan game. 19 of 33, 175, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So completion percentage is kind of a misleading stat because Ohio State's offense is designed to give you easy throws. Ohio State has the talent advantage over 99.9% of teams they're going to play. Maybe 100% of teams. Like, Ohio State has been the most talented team in every single game they've played this year. So just having a high completion percentage isn't necessarily indicative of being a great quarterback. I mean, Bo Nix like set the NCAA record for completion percentage. He wasn't just some phenomenal quarterback. See, I think even 8 teams is too many. I think you go 4 teams, 2 high seeds get a bye, and then from there, the next 4 teams are just the next highest rated teams. But 12 teams was infinitely too many. Now, Oregon did get the hardest route to the championship. That's what I mean. It was the bad system year one. They're going to have to re-examine that. They're obviously not going to drop it to 6 teams. They're going to keep it at 12, maybe even expand it. But the auto buys format needs to be changed. Definitely needs to be changed. No, I said 7. I said this 14 playoff was fine as is. I said the reason it was going to change was because a lot of times the SEC just felt like it should have more teams in, right? So the SEC wanted more teams in the playoffs. They were the main ones pushing for it. I thought that once you got to 12, it was like, okay, at 12, we're just going to see a lot of teams that aren't national championship contenders in the playoff for the sake of being in the playoff. Doesn't make it any better. It's like if I don't have a great example, but yeah, it just wasn't like there aren't that many good teams each year. And I think the one thing with the 14 playoff is like the 5th ranked team, usually they have a gripe, right? So last year, Florida State, we go undefeated, lose our quarterback. We're held out because of that. They have a gripe, right? Bama, who went 9-3, lost to Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. They don't really have the same gripe. Like, they don't have the same gripe in my eyes. Or I don't respect it the same. I don't see that and say, oh, like, yeah, they're probably deserving to be in it. It's like, no, you lost 3 games, 2 of which were 6-6 teams, 1 of which you got like obliterated in. Like I'm not hearing it. Like, I don't know, it's falling on deaf ears. I think Georgia with Carson Beck had a lot of flaws. I think Georgia without Carson Beck has even more flaws. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. And it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't. It wouldn't surprise me if this game looked kind of like the Georgia Ole Miss game. It really wouldn't at all. I don't know if y'all watched that game. Ole Miss kind of just stuffed Georgia in a box all game. Carson Beck, 20-31, 186. I don't love Georgia's receiving core. I don't love it at all. Lovett, Bell, Arian Smith, like, they're not bad. Well, one, they struggle with catching the ball, which I think is, like, as a receiver, that's bad. But I don't think any of them are super dynamic to the point where they're going to be able to get a ton of separation on Notre Dame's corners. Notre Dame's corners, I don't know if I was watching it for my Backpedal School page. Notre Dame's corners are elite, and they're missing their best one. Like, they're missing their best player, they still got elite guys on the outside and in the at safety. So I think like Notre Dame's gonna win that game. I know Ohio State went shot for shot with hey Rock, that's what I've been saying. Georgia Tech ran all over them. UMass ran all over them. So teams can run all over Georgia. It's not out of the question. I think Notre Dame wins that one because of that fact. I'm seeing Zach Branch gonna go to Arizona State, so I think that's where he goes. Honestly, I see this being Oregon Notre Dame. Oregon Notre Dame in the championship. That is my prediction. I think Notre Dame, especially like against Penn State, don't have to worry at all about the pass game. Like the pass game against Penn State, if Notre Dame plays them, is gonna be super boxed. Uh and yeah, I just don't see Penn State being able to generate much offense in that one. I'm not bashing. No, no, no. I'm not bashing Ohio State for beating Tennessee. I'm saying Tennessee wasn't that great this year. I think this offensive production was about what I would have expected from Tennessee. Uh, and then their game plan of like single covering receivers playing man coverage, that was just pitiful. Uh, but yeah, no, I think Ohio State, they're a good team. They have potential to play well. I just don't always trust Will Howard. I think Will Howard is going to do a few things in a game against a high level team that cost the team the game. So whether it's turnovers, whether it's just missing open receivers or missing receivers, I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a pretty good college quarterback. Like if I had to give him a rating, I'd probably give him like a, you know, 81, 82, 83. Like, good, but there's definitely better. I think Dylan Gabriel is significantly better. I think Oregon's defense is significantly better than Tennessee's defense. I think eight's even too many. I don't think there are eight teams usually in the country that are worthy of playing for can win a or can win the championship. I think it's more so. I think six is the right number. No, the problem is 100% the where is it? Y'all saying how's more college football trash? I mean, I don't think any single person stayed on and watched the entirety of any of these games. Like none of these games, I sat there and said, "Oh, I gotta like keep watching." Like Ohio State had the backups in. Penn State, I turned off after like the third quarter. Uh, Texas, Clemson, I mean that was the closest one. Even that's 14. Indiana scored two garbage time touchdowns, but like they weren't really super competitive in this one. So yeah, more football. Like, do I want more? Like, do I want the team that could only score 17 points against Tennessee? Do I want to really see them in the playoffs? Like, uh, see, y'all saying the number like, dog. Let's look at where's Alabama. Do I have them up here? No. How do we get to Bama? Like, if we look at Bama, first off, this game against Georgia, they almost gave that away. Bama. So lost to Vanderbilt, 40-35. Squeaked by South Carolina. Probably should have lost that. Lost to Missouri. Offense looked terrible. Missouri is the most overranked team in the entire country this year. Missouri being at 21 is so egregious. LSU wasn't really that great. They played Mercer. They play Oklahoma. This is the one. 24-3. Milrow couldn't do anything. You can't really say, oh, Bama would have probably blown this team out, blown that team out. Like they lost to Oklahoma, couldn't do anything against them. So I don't think like Bama wasn't that great this year. They just weren't like y'all see the name on the helmet of Bama. I don't know if y'all watched the games. This was not the same Bama team at all. ASU is not winning at all. ASU, I can promise you, is not winning at all. If you think more college football is better, if you think more college football games are better, just go watch the other bowl games because that's essentially what those games would have been. Like once you get to the big dogs, in this round, this is who is really in contention. Like, does anyone think if Tennessee had to play Bama, right? Tennessee beats Bama again, then they play Ohio State in the next round. Does anything really change? No, we just are taking longer to get to what we already know. Chat going too fast. Think it should be 16 first team, 2 teams against buys. That's what I've been saying. That's my thought on this. Notre Dame did lose to Northern Illinois, but they also didn't lose any games after that. If Notre Dame had lost another game to after Northern Illinois, Northern Illinois, they're probably not in the playoffs. So they lost early on. They were like, damn, we got to handle business. They didn't lose. Bama lost 2 games, just had to handle business, and they would have been in. What they do? They lost to Oklahoma in embarrassing fashion. They got left out. Ole Miss, all they had to do, went out. What they do? Lost to Lost to Florida. Miami, all they had to do, went out. They're in. What they do? They lost to Syracuse. So I'm not saying your losses matter more than the wins. I'm saying the resume is judged as a whole, right? So you can't just throw away the losses because of the wins. The wins and the losses all get calculated. Because I show you this, 2-loss Bama is in the field. A 3-loss Bama, well, now it gets compared with other things and they get left out, which I think was the right decision. Now, Ohio State is one of the, like, how I really feel is there are 3 teams that I think at full strength have the best shot of winning. So I think Ohio State, one thing I haven't touched on with Ohio State, their offensive line is decimated. So I think their 2 guards are out for the year, center's out for the year. So their offensive line is decimated. Tennessee, I don't think was that good to really take advantage of it. You saw Michigan be able to take more advantage of it. I think Oregon has the guys to take advantage of that. So that's kind of why I'm going Oregon. I don't think that, what was I even saying? I think Ohio State at their best definitely can do that. I think when they play better teams, like when they played defense like Penn State's, you saw them only score 20 points. They scored a little bit more against Oregon. I question their Ohio State secondary against Oregon, though. I think Oregon is one of the few teams that has the receivers to really, really put Ohio State's DBs in a bind like we saw earlier this year. So they're going to have to figure that out. And I don't think Ohio State can just like play 2 deep safeties and prevent the pass that way, because I think Oregon will be able to run the ball. So I think it'll be a good game, though. I think this will be a good game. I just like Oregon to win it. Saying, see what chat. SMU definitely deserved it over Bama. Because if they had left SMU out, then I don't think anyone would have played a conference championship game ever again. I think after what happens to Oregon, I think teams might not play conference championships ever again. Like, the conference championship got so watered down for essentially a bunch of leagues, teams already having their spot clinched essentially. So, like, if you're Arizona State, right, where you have to win and go in, you're Clemson, you have to win and get in. I think you play the conference championship. If you're Oregon, who's already in the field, why would I play the conference championship when I'm probably going to get screwed in terms of my seeding anyway? Dog, if you think Colorado or BYU would have been a more competitive game against Penn State than SMU, you are crazy. Colorado, they would have got obliterated. BYU would have got obliterated. Like, it doesn't matter who you put in this spot. I think they're all getting obliterated. If I'm being completely honest with y'all, I don't think Bama is making it close with Penn State this year. That might be a hot take. I think if Bama and Penn State play, I think Penn State beats them handily. They just, like, yeah, I just don't think Bama was that great on offense this year. I don't think Milroe did super well. I think their offensive scheme, I don't think Milroe is the right quarterback for DeBoer's scheme. I don't think he's what DeBoer wants in a quarterback. I mean, if you look at Michael Penix, very far from that. Not saying Milroe's not a good quarterback, just not a great scheme fit, which, I mean, football is all about scheme, all about matchups. Don't think it really meshes up that well. So I don't think Bama would have been close with Penn State. Penn State is going to beat Boise State. Penn State will beat Boise State. I can promise you that. Like, I thought SMU had a pat. I thought of all the first round games, SMU was the lower seed with the best chance to win. Early on, it was looking like, okay, maybe they have a shot. They drove the ball a little bit. They were holding Penn State's offense. Then they threw 2 pick sixes and threw the third pick with the ball at the like 8 yard line, and it just the wheels fell off. But so I was wrong there. I like right for a quick second I was like, yo, low key, I'm gonna talk crazy to those that said I was crazy, but yeah, ended up not working out. But so I think Penn State's definitely gonna win. I think Notre Dame's gonna win, Penn State's gonna win, Oregon's gonna win, Texas is gonna win. Uh I don't know. I think the BCS polls are no, I don't even know if the BCS. I There just needs to be a more concrete thing, and there needs to be a more set criteria for every single like they use for every team, right? Because if you use the no good wins argument, so you get SMU and Indiana out, well then Texas also has to be out because they don't have any good wins. The 2 times they were tested, they lost. Uh, who else? Arizona State, you could say they don't have any good wins, so then that's there. If you want to go just like, so like you have to take a criteria and it has to apply to everyone. You can't just selectively apply it. You can't say, oh, we want SMU out the field because of their strength of schedule, or their lack of like, ranked wins or this wins. When ranked wins is probably the biggest bullshit metric, mainly because it can be manufactured. Like I said earlier, Missouri, they're ranked. What is Missouri ranked? Missouri's ranked 20, or Missouri's ranked 19th. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Missouri's ranked 19th. And if you've watched the Missouri game this year, they are not the 19th best team in the country. I promise you that. I think they lose to any of these teams under them. They just haven't looked good all year. The only times they've played any good teams, they've got blown out. Like Texas A&M, blown out. Bama, blown out. I forgot who their third loss was, but South Carolina. South Carolina, bro. Missouri was ranked like 23rd going into that game. They lost and dropped to 24th. Like, that's how you know, or going by like ranked wins and that stuff is all bullshit, because if the committee wants the team ranked, they'll be ranked, and that can be used to push the agenda. So I think the criteria they applied this year was, all right, we're gonna look at the on-field results. Winning your games definitely mattered. Having more wins was better. That's what got Texas in. That's what got SMU in. That's what got Indiana in. That's really what got Penn State in too. Penn State didn't have any great wins. So who you like winning this year took precedence, right? And it's mainly because a lot of those teams that were right on the cutoff line lost games late, or they had like multiple more losses than the teams they were competing against. Like a 1-loss team in the Big Ten versus a 3-loss team in the SEC. It's like, all right, the Big Ten is a power conference. The SEC is a power conference. So you can't just say, oh, it's the SEC. Those teams would go undefeated because Vanderbilt, who beat Bama, and Bama, who beat Georgia. Well, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State, who I think won 3 games on the year and played in the Sun Belt. So, yeah, no, you can't use the transitive property. You can't just use hypotheticals. Like, the stuff that actually happens has to matter. That's what the committee said this year. There ultimately just ended up being a lot of teams who just kept losing. Like, if they just lost one less game to a bad team, like, they were losing games to bad teams. So it's like, damn, like, we want to keep y'all in, but we got to drop you for losing. We got to punish the losses, but there's only so many teams you can have in the field when you have 12 teams. So that's when you get some of those flawed teams, kind of pulling up the rear of the bracket. But that is why I think it needs to be at 6 teams. Y'all keep asking about Notre Dame, Georgia. I think Notre Dame wins the game. I don't think I can see it being like a 10-point game. If it's not 10 points, I think Notre Dame wins pretty handily. I think Notre Dame wins that pretty handily. And that is facts. The SEC is not the power conference that it was. The SEC, like the top of it, right? So Georgia won the SEC, right? This was not the 2021, 2022 Georgia teams that were, just complete machines mowing through everyone. This Georgia team did not look great a lot of times this year. Like, a lot of times. Probably should have lost to Georgia Tech, right? Squeaked out that one. Gave up a ton of stuff to UMass. Like, defense looked terrible. Lost to Ole Miss, got put in a box. If y'all watched this Florida game, when Florida had Lagway before he got hurt, they actually looked like they were going to win the game. And then ultimately, Lagway gets hurt. The backup, the third string quarterback goes in, and Georgia kind of runs away with it. But Georgia has not looked at Kentucky. Georgia beat Kentucky 13-12. So Georgia has not looked great all year. Yeah, so they won the SEC, right? Texas, the only team they really played was Georgia, who they lost to. Texas had a lot of games too where they didn't look super great. The offense looked a little shaky. Tennessee, as I've been saying, Tennessee just did not look great offensively most of the year, and their defense looked good because I think the SEC offenses weren't that great. Then you have Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. Bama had a bunch of bad games. Ole Miss had some bad games. South Carolina, the 3 losses. I think South Carolina was the team playing the best, but ultimately, when your 2 of your losses are to the 2 of the teams that you're kind of competing against for that spot, I think then it becomes a little bit difficult to get you in there. But yeah, and then the crazy thing is, right? So Georgia won the SEC, so they got to be a great team, right? Well, why are they great? Well, they beat Texas. They beat Texas in their losses to Alabama. Oh, okay, so why is Alabama good? Well, Alabama's good because they beat Georgia. Like I've been saying, it's just a circular reasoning to prove why the SEC is good. Teams are good because they beat teams. Teams are bad, or teams are good because they beat teams or because they lost to certain teams. So it's never that, oh, Bama lost to Vanderbilt, so Vanderbilt would go undefeated in the Big Ten. Well, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State, who won 3 games. So maybe Vanderbilt's not that great. Maybe Vanderbilt beat Bama because Bama's not that great. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but that's the thought process there. I don't know about too much time off for the buys. I think it would be. I think we're gonna see 2 of the. So Penn State or Boise State and Arizona State just aren't as talented. I think Oregon and Ohio State, Notre Dame and Georgia, that's a matchup with 2 teams of similar talents. So I think those are going to be the better games. So if I had to pick the top 6 teams, I would go Oregon, Georgia. Actually, let's go to the rankings. It'll be easier to see there. So I would go Oregon, Georgia, Texas. Actually, I would just go like straight up what the rankings are. Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Those are the 6 teams I think are the class of the country this year. They're the best teams. I think after that, that's when you start getting like the teams where you either didn't really beat anyone or you lost a bunch of games to teams that you shouldn't have lost to, which kind of knocks you out because like Alabama against SMU, all right, there's an argument there. There's a reason why there was like a debate between those teams. There is no debate between Alabama and Ohio State. No debate between Bama and even Notre Dame or Penn State. So you could say, I guess there's a little bit between Bama and Notre Dame. But guess what? After a bad loss, Notre Dame handled business twice. Bama didn't. Notre Dame handled business. Bama didn't twice. So I think 6 teams, the top 6 teams in the rankings are what the top 6 teams should have been. Also, I think another problem is now that we have, and this is actually a problem the SEC created, they wanted to go to super conferences. So now we have a bunch of super conferences where, guess what? You're going to have uneven schedules. Like, your Indiana, there's a possibility you play a bunch of teams who end up not being that great. Now, if you look at Indiana's schedule from, like, at the beginning of the year, you're saying, all right, they got Michigan, they got Washington, they got Ohio State. They have 2 teams that were in the national championship last year in Ohio State. That's a great schedule. Well, Michigan ended up not being great. Washington ended up not being great. So the schedule ends up not being great. But because there are 18 teams in the Big Ten, now there's a situation where they're playing a bunch of teams Ohio State doesn't have to play. They don't have to play Penn State. They don't have to play USC. They don't have to play, even though USC wasn't that great, they don't have to play Oregon. They don't have to play, I don't know who else I'm missing, but actually we see it over here. So Indiana, right? They don't have to play Oregon. Don't have to play Penn State. Don't have to play Illinois. Don't have to play Iowa. Don't have to play. Yeah, so they're missing pretty much the entire top half of the Big Ten, all because there's so many teams in it. So the SEC, remember, they're the ones who started, we're loading up on all these teams. We're going to create a super mega conference. Well, if you're not going to have a great way to schedule it to ensure that each team has comparable schedules within your conference, then you're going to be in situations where Texas, Indiana, Penn State go through not having to play a ton of great teams, whereas you get teams like, Ohio State who has to play Oregon, who has to play Indiana, who has to play Penn State. So like you have to like that's a problem that I think is creating this situation where there's just so much imbalance in the schedules. We had all these talks about strength of schedule, even within conferences, just because of how massive the conferences are. Uh, Actually, that is so. I've been saying this for a minute too. The SEC, for the most part, since I mean, Saban went to Bama, it's been Bama's dominance. Georgia for the last since like 2020, it's been those two teams with like LSU and you could say Auburn sprinkled in. But after that, bro, it's not like the SEC is like the SEC hasn't been winning aside from those teams. Like it's not like every single year it's just a different SEC team winning. No, it's been Bama, it's been Georgia. You've had LSU a few times. You had Auburn like once or twice. Aside from that, like Ole Miss isn't winning any, hasn't won anything. Mississippi State hasn't won anything. Florida won stuff like way back, but Florida hasn't been winning anything recently. Who else is there? Like Kentucky's not winning anything. South Carolina hasn't been winning anything. So the SEC propaganda is definitely built off the backs of two teams. We'll call it three. LSU's had enough good years, I think, but really two teams have carried the SEC. So yeah, you can say, oh, the SEC's won this many national championships. Like you take Bama and Georgia out of there and put them in a different conference. Well, now those conferences have won more championships. So Georgia, I don't think Georgia's winning the Natty. I don't think they're winning it. I really think this game is who has the best chance to win. I think Ohio State and Oregon, the winner of that, I think the winner of Ohio State Oregon is going to ultimately win the championship. I think these are probably the two most talented teams with the best quarterbacks. So I would say Georgia as a whole, they're probably more talented. I don't know if Georgia's more talented offensively than Oregon. That's the thing. I think Oregon's probably more talented offensively. But yeah, so I think like these teams can definitely match up with Texas. I think they have the players to cause Quinn Ewers to be uncomfortable, and we've seen him uncomfortable. It looks bad. Penn State, Boise State. I just don't think Penn State has the quarterback or the receiving core to match up with these teams up here. I really don't see them having the receiving core to match up with Notre Dame or Georgia, and I've already said why I think Notre Dame's going to win. So, yeah, I really think Ohio State Oregon is going to be the team that wins the national championship. Now, I think these games are going to be closer, but I think these are the two best teams right here, which is probably a shame that this is the way the bracket got set up, and this is the way it is, because having these two teams have to play at this time is kind of like, damn, yeah, that kind of sucks. But I think this is the matchup. Do I think anyone left can't win it? I don't think Arizona State. I don't think Boise State. I don't think Penn State can win it. Those are the teams I just don't see being able to win. Arizona State, they're just don't have enough overall team talent compared to Texas, compared to Ohio State, compared to Oregon. Same thing with Boise State. Penn State, I just have a hard time seeing a team that, like, I don't know what it is about Penn State. I just don't see, like, a team that has the, you call it weak spots they have, being able to succeed and have them overcome it, right? Like Texas has an elite receiving core. Ohio State, elite receiving core. Oregon, elite receiving core. Notre Dame and Georgia, I think they just have significantly better rosters, and they have defenses that can really take advantage of Penn State's weak spots. No, it's not that strength of schedule shouldn't matter if you lose to 2, 6, and 6 teams. It's that losing to 2, 6, and 6 teams gets accounted for along with your strength of schedule. So Alabama's strength of schedule is what even had them in a conversation with SMU. But they lost to 2, 6, and 6 teams. So ultimately their resume fully wasn't as good as SMU's resume fully. So I think that's kind of what people are mistaking. They're mistaking the committee putting SMU in as oh, they're not looking at strength of schedule. When no, they are looking at strength of schedule. They're just saying your strength of schedule combined with your 2 losses to 6-6 teams makes your resume worse than SMU's. So I do think strength of schedule was a factor. I just don't think it's the deciding factor. It's not the only factor, but it is a factor. It's why it was even a conversation in the first place. Now, Boise's defense isn't bad. I just don't think they have the overall lines to really hold up with Penn State's line. We'll see. Like, maybe Gentry goes off. I mean, I know it was a close game with Oregon earlier in the year. Granted, Oregon's improved a lot since then, but I just don't see the overall team talent and team speed being on par with Penn State. Well, here's the thing. So here, Tyler, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Uh, I don't think you can. So one thing you can't do is you can't use information you didn't have to justify a decision, right? So you can't say, oh, because these games were blowouts, the committee put the wrong teams in. I think the committee put the right teams in, or the right teams in, regardless of whatever the result is, right? So I felt the committee put the right teams in 2 weeks ago when they was announced. I feel the same way today because let's think of an example, right? Let's say you touch a hot pan, right, and you don't get burned. Well, because you didn't get burned doesn't mean it was a smart decision that you touched the pan or the pot. It just means you didn't get burned. It means it didn't come back to harm you. But I think we can all agree that touching a hot pot is a bad decision, right? So let's say someone drives drunk, right? Terrible decision. Should never do it. Don't ever do that. Just because they get home safe doesn't mean, oh, no, I can drive drunk. I got home safe. It was a good decision. No, it wasn't a good decision, right? So whatever, like the result doesn't determine how good of a decision it was because you didn't have those data points in the moment. So the committee doesn't have the data point of, oh, SMU is going to get blown out. Penn State's going to, or Indiana's going to get blown out. Tennessee's going to get blown out. So you can't say, oh, the committee made a bad decision because of what happened today. If you thought the committee made a bad decision and you thought that beforehand, then, I think I disagree with you, but that's fine. If you thought it was the right decision then and then said, oh, let's see how it plays out, and then we'll see we'll make a determination on the decision. Well, that's a fallacy. Doesn't work out. Doesn't work that way. I think Oregon wins. What's the best team that lost? Probably Clemson. Probably Clemson, although I would say SMU looked like they matched up the best with the team they were playing against. I would say you throw 2 pick sixes in a span of that and then throw a pick when you're on the 9-yard line. Like the game's gonna kind of snowball from there. But like early on, SMU definitely looked like they could move the ball on Penn State. They looked like their defense was getting stops. Then the quarterback, one bad decision turned into 2 bad decisions. 2 bad decisions turned into him pressing. And then once he started pressing, it was essentially over after that. I don't know if Tennessee is better than Clemson. I don't know that. I don't think that. I don't think Tennessee's better than Clemson. I don't think Tennessee's scoring on Clemson's defense. Tennessee's offense is not good. It's not a good offense. I know they play in the SEC. I know they beat Bama. It's not a good offense. No, that's what I'm saying, bro. Risky. If SMU doesn't throw 3 picks, 2 of which are pick sixes, right? I think if they even tackle the returner, I think it's a different game. Like, just the not getting the touchdown on that one on the I think it was their first drive or second drive, not scoring the touchdown there, and then the 2 pick sixes like back to back is kind of what like, all right, this game's over. But if that doesn't happen, in a world that doesn't happen, I think it's a much more competitive game that goes into the fourth quarter. I don't know if Miami beats Penn State just because I think Miami's defense isn't good enough to really cause Penn State's offense to struggle. And I think Penn State has a good enough defense to, especially pass rush, to kind of really, really mess with Cam Ward. Oh, wait, what's going on? What's going on? Tennessee's quarterback played about how he's played most of the year, which is not the greatest. I don't think their offense is. I don't like their offense, especially against a team like Ohio State. Because Utah State, we had our offensive coordinator came from I think it was UCF where Heupel was before Tennessee. So we ran like the same system. The system really doesn't work when the other team has a lot more talent than you. So when if your slot receiver can't win against their DBs, or they just have a front that can like get pressure and rush the quarterback with four guys, you're gonna struggle to create separation. You're gonna struggle to create big explosive plays. Tennessee, that's what they showed today. Yeah, I think Ohio State was just significantly better. I think their quarterback played about as well as he has most of the year, which I didn't think Tennessee was gonna really keep this game close because of that. So I don't think it was like, Tennessee's quarterback played any worse than normal. I think this is about 17 points is about what they've been on, good teams, like what they do against like Tennessee scored 17 points against Georgia. 24 points against Bama. So it's not like Tennessee was some gauntlet all year. 25 points against Oklahoma. So they haven't been some gauntlet all year. It's not like they're some super elite team. This is about who they were against the elite team or against the better teams in the country. The top six, remember what I said. The top six teams this year separated themselves from everyone. Tennessee, they were 7. Ohio State was 6. Ohio State showed this is pretty much the gap between Tennessee and the top teams in the field. I think SMU has a bright future. I think Jennings, because he's a young guy, I think they have the type of coach too, type of offensive system where it's going to allow them to be competitive in the ACC. So, I think SMU's not in bad shape. Plus, they got the oil money. So, they're going to be spending a lot of NIL down there. I got to figure out how to get me a little SMU NIL. I might become an SMU fan just so the boosters and stuff can fuck with me. Because let me tell you, them boys is loaded down there. That was crazy. I don't know if y'all noticed. They're not even getting paid TV revenue from the ACC. They were like, yo, fuck that. We only want the bread from y'all. We just want to be part of the conference. Like, we'll pay our own stuff. So they're like foregoing 9 years of TV revenue payments to be in the ACC. Like, they got bread. They got real bread. Best team for Penn State to play if they beat Boise? I think low key, I think it might be Georgia. I think it's probably Georgia. Because what Oregon showed against Penn State is they got the weapons to where, they can throw the ball on that defense. Texas, I think, can do the same thing. Now, I think they can make Quinn Ewers a little more uncomfortable. I think Quinn Ewers is a little more likely to throw, make mistakes. Ohio State, same thing. I think they have the athletes. They can throw the ball on Penn State. Now, I think Will Howard's a little bit worse than Dylan Gabriel, so a little more prone to mistakes against that defense. I think Notre Dame and Georgia just too good of defenses and secondaries for Penn State to really succeed against them. Who would I like to see win most? All right, let's see. So Ohio State, y'all know that's a forever hate watch for me, so definitely not them. Notre Dame's a hate watch for me, so I don't really want to see them win the championship. Penn State's in the Big Ten, so I don't want to see them win it. Boise State's a hate watch, so don't want to see them win. I guess theoretically, Texas, Arizona State, or Oregon. I do think Oregon's going to win, so it's like that's an unbiased, non-feelings pick, but I would prefer to see them win. I think they'd be the least annoying. If Ohio State wins, I'm probably deleting Twitter, deleting TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that. I can't see. I wouldn't be able to stand seeing any of it. So if Ohio State wins, just know like my accounts might be gone. They might be out of there. Zach, Arizona State is not a dark horse to win it all. They are not. They don't have. They just don't have the players to keep up with Texas. Texas' defense is serious. Like, Texas has a serious defense. You need to have that caliber of athletes, especially on the line, and really match up with them. Arizona State just does not have that. If Penn State makes it out their side and plays in the chip, who should they hope to play? Probably, Arizona State, obviously, but realistically, I think if I were them, I'd prefer to play Ohio State. I think Ohio State is the one team where they have the potential to not just kind of lay it all on the table. Like I think Ryan Day, I don't know. Ryan Day's the worst. I don't know about the worst coach, but between Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, I think Ryan Day's who you want to see in that. Uh, I don't know if the home field advantages were OP. I just think the away teams weren't that good. Like Tennessee, I don't think they were that good. Clemson, I mean, weren't that great. Uh, Indiana wasn't untested. SMU untested. So yeah, I don't know if the home fields were OP. I just think it was like we had a bunch of teams that shouldn't have been in the playoff playing today. I think Jets will break a couple runs. I think Penn State has the athletes though to be able to close, and if he breaks the first tackle, I think the second and third guy are going to be there much faster. Uh, I don't think the bye will hurt the top four. No, I think Boise State and Arizona State, they're just not as good, so they're gonna lose. And I think Oregon and Notre Dame win. I think Oregon wins because they have the better coaching quarterback. Ohio State's offensive line. Ohio State's offensive line is you know, decimated. I think Notre Dame wins because they have the rushing attack and defense. But yeah, no, I don't think the bye is necessarily gonna hurt. Which St. Joe's woo? Easiest path to the final? Probably the winner of Notre Dame, Georgia. I think you'd much rather be playing Penn State or Boise State as opposed to having to play either Texas, Ohio State, or Oregon. Boise is gonna get smacked. I gotta ask that question because I was at St. Joe's. I was at St. Joe's Philly a few times this year, so and we played them a couple times in my career. Uh, Montvale, best player I played St. Joe's Montvale. Probably. I think. Now I didn't really play against them. I was a sophomore, but what's his name? Mark Fasadi, I think. He's definitely a dog. Definitely a dog. High Keto, that was like the year they were like number 3 in the country, and we beat them on Thanksgiving, knocked them out. And then the two teams that they played that they were ahead of them, like lost their state championship. So St. Joe's would have been the national champion if they had beat us that game, which is crazy. Went to USU for a little bit. How do you like the school in Logan? So I was in grad school at Utah State. I had 0 classes on campus. All my classes were online, so I did not go to campus ever. Like I would wake up, go to breakfast for football, go to treatment, go back to my apartment, like watch film, go to take a nap, whatever. Go back for practice, meetings, and all that stuff. Go back to eat, go to my apartment, watch more film. So like I was never at class on campus, never walked around campus. I couldn't tell you what any of the buildings looked like, where they were, anything like that. But Logan, I'm more of a city person at heart, right? So I'm more of like, I like big cities, I like being around that type of stuff. I like malls, I like shopping and things of that nature. I'm not very much not an outdoors person. Like I don't like I would never go camping. I went camping once in my life. Never ever doing that again. I think I was a sophomore in high school, and like my uncle one summer was like, "Yo, we're going camping, like let's go." So my parents were like, "Oh yeah, y'all should go with them." So we go camping, bro. The first night I get there, right, we're pumping up the air mattresses. I wake up in like the middle of the night, bro. My shit is flat, like flat, pressed against the ground, flat. I wake up, it's like a rock in my back. I'm sitting there like, yo, what the fuck, bro? My shit hurt. And then I remember like the first day we're like doing something with s'mores and like the fire not lighting. I'm like hella bugs in the area because we got the fire. It's hot, it's light, and I'm just like, yo, this is the worst thing ever. I don't know how people do this. People that go like kayaking and stuff like that. Like it's cool, I guess, kayaking like if you're in an enclosed space, but I'm not trying to do that like in no dangerous river. Like I'm not trying to. I don't know. I'm just not trying to do a bunch of outdoorsy mountain climbing stuff like hiking. Oh, not for me. Aikido. It feels like if it was a bad shawty and she was like, "Yo, let's go on a hike." I'll be the first one on a hike. Like, let's go. I love hiking, but to y'all, nah, I hate that shit. Appreciate that, Rufus. Appreciate that. High key, you're actually gonna see this background change in a little bit. So Those of y'all that follow me on Instagram, by the way, go follow me, Hunt_XXVII. Posted yesterday. I'm actually moving, right? So gonna have a whole new setup, whole new everything. The streams might be a little slower, especially on the gaming side, until everything gets set up. So those of y'all that like, be watching me play NCAA and stuff like that, watching me play Fortnite, probably gonna slow down on that for like a week maybe while everything's getting shipped over, everything's getting set up. But there's gonna be a new stream, there's gonna be a whole new like content plan. Yo, just know 2025 we're taking off with the shit. 2024 was cool, right? I feel like we got ourselves a little bit more established on everything. We like, people like in public, people like come up to me like, yo, what's good, huh? Be watching your stuff. Now it's like, all right, now we got a good foundation, we got a good base. It's like, yo, now we going up, now we elevating. The goal next year is like 100K subs on YouTube. We trying to hit a couple like 500,000 on TikTok, couple like 300,000 on Instagram. So yeah, the content gonna keep coming, we gonna keep blowing up. But so setup is definitely switching up in a second though, in a little bit. John, no, I'm not saying. Wait. Actually, I don't know what. I have no clue. Probably Ohio State, or no, maybe like Penn State. I don't know. Logan, too boring in school, feels like a high school. That's pretty. Logan's definitely boring. Logan's a boring town. I can admit that. John, no, we're not getting fraud degrees. So I went to University of Michigan, right, for 4 years. Graduated with a degree in economics. So graduated my degree. At that point, I was like, all right, well, it's a master's program. I'm just going to do sports management, something easy, something I don't got to stress about. I'm worried about football right now. I'm not trying to be worried about school at all. I had to stress about school at Michigan. I was like, I'm not trying to do that. So, yeah, I had the degree in econ. It's like, all right, cool. You feel me? We can just go on and do something where not too strenuous. I can focus on football, and that's what I did. But, yeah, no, trust me. I mean, if you don't want to get a fake degree, you don't have to get a fake degree. I mean, shit, trust me. I worked for my degree, worked my ass off for that thing. Yeah, definitely was not easy by any stretch of the imagination. I promise you that much. But yeah, no, we got the diploma, so that's what matters. At Rufus, I mean, I be talking. Those of y'all that be tuned into the streams for real, y'all know I be talking all day. Like I be talking on here. Like I talk a lot. Like a lot of people, on their social medias, they'll post like, videos where it's just kind of them doing stuff, but they're not really saying anything. Like I legitimately am talking on most of my videos. Like if y'all go on my Instagram, low-key, if y'all go on my TikTok too, if y'all go on my page, like y'all gonna see just a lot of videos of me talking. So it's something I do a lot. Definitely got much better at it. There was a point in time could not talk at all. Yeah, at this point now we can talk. I mean, shit, we've been on here, bro. We've been streaming this for. I told you I was gonna be a short stream. Those of y'all that's been here for a minute, I was like, hey, it's gonna be a short stream. We're just gonna give our couple thoughts on the games, and then we're gonna be out of here. It's been an hour at this point. Nah, Tennessee. Okay, we got the Ohio State fans in here. Y'all know I'm Go Blue at heart. I picked Ohio State to win the game. I thought Ohio State was a much better team than Tennessee. I thought Tennessee was very fraudulent. Proved it on the field. I think Notre Dame does upset Georgia. Yep. I think Notre Dame upsets Georgia for sure. Let's see what chat's saying. Notre Dame going all the way. I can see it. I picked that in my bracket, so I did pick SMU to beat Penn State. That's on me. Bad pick. It looked like he'd work out for a second. SMU had looked like they had a shot. They were trending in the right direction, then threw 2 pick sixes. And then a pick on like the 9-yard line. But I did say Notre Dame was going to beat Georgia, and then they were going to win this game. So I think I think we'll see Notre Dame in the championship against Oregon. That's my prediction right there. That's my prediction. Boise State is getting clipped next game. I don't know if Tennessee's the worst SEC team, but I think there just weren't a lot of great SEC teams this year. I think that's pretty much what it boiled down to, what that showed. College basketball tip: unranked home dogs versus road ranked favorites. 1 head plus points. Hey Johnny, I don't know what that means. Dog, I don't know if y'all have watched Georgia this year. Georgia is not a great team. Like Georgia is not great. I promise you that much. Like, yes, they beat Texas. I don't think Texas is that great. I think Georgia is. I like Ohio State and Notre Dame or Oregon more than I like Georgia. So I think Ohio State and Oregon both beat Georgia. I I think it's a toss up between Penn State and Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has a much more dynamic threat rushing at quarterback than Notre Dame or than Penn State, which is what would lead me to pick Notre Dame over Georgia. So yeah, Notre Dame over Georgia. Stamp that. That is Hunt's hot take of the week. Yo, that might be a segment. Hold up. I gotta write that down. Let me write that down real quick, chat. Hunt's hot take of the week. That's tough because I got a lot of hot takes about like every walk of life. Matter of fact, y'all drop y'all craziest hot take in chat right now. Y'all drop the craziest hot take. Hunt's hot take of the week. That's fire right there. Oh my god, y'all don't y'all love that? How isn't Georgia a good team? No, Lando. I said Georgia's not a great team. Great team. Like difference, right? A few good teams in the country this year, not a lot of great teams. A great team does not lose 28-10 to Ole Miss. A great team does not go 44-42 against Georgia Tech. A great team doesn't give up 250 rushing yards to UMass. A great team isn't losing to Florida before their quarterback gets injured. A great team doesn't lose to Bama, doesn't go down like, what were they, like 31-0 or whatever. A great team doesn't beat Kentucky 13-12. Now, you could say a great team has one or two games like that a year, but by my count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances where it's like, all right, they're a little bit shaky. Even a great team against Texas, bro. Like, they're not, like, they were struggling to score against Texas. Now, Texas had a lot of mistakes, but yeah, Texas was not, like, your win being Texas and Tennessee isn't like some, oh shit, those are great wins. It's like, I think Tennessee wasn't that good. Texas is very flawed in my opinion. So yeah, no, it's, you know, they're a good team. They're one of the better teams in the country. I think they one of the 6 teams that should be competing for the playoff. I don't think they're a great team. ASU. No, Georgia fans definitely just came in. I'm fine with that. Y'all talk y'all shit, man. It is what it is. Plus y'all don't have Carson Beck, and y'all can say Gunnar Stockton was a high commit this, high recruit that. Like, dog, they it's not like they scored a ton of points. They scored less points against Texas than Clemson did. So that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say about that. See, Clay, if Georgia had the defense they had last year, I could see you saying they're gonna lock in, but they're like, it's not like they have the same dogs they had on defense last year. Like, I don't know what the draft status of their defenders are. I can tell you they don't have a 2021, 2022 type defense. They don't have those same dogs on the line at linebacker, in the secondary. So while they're going to be good, while they are good, I think it's not like before where they're light years ahead of the other teams that are in the field. Like, it's a lot closer, and they've shown the weaknesses they've shown are weaknesses I think Notre Dame can exploit. I think Notre Dame has a better so if you look at the Georgia Tech game, Notre Dame has a better running back and a better version of Georgia Tech's quarterback in Riley Leonard. So if Georgia Tech had it 40 was up like they were, I think Notre Dame can be up, and Notre Dame has a defense that can really stifle Georgia's offense. Georgia's receiving core, I would say it's not good. Like, I would put it on par with maybe Penn State's. Like, it's significantly worse than Texas's, significantly worse than Ohio State's, significantly worse than Oregon's. I would even say because Penn State has, Tyler Warren, so I would put Penn State's pass catching weapons over Georgia's pass catching weapons. So yeah, Georgia, like, as a whole, they're just a very flawed team this year. I think a lot of these teams are flawed teams, right? I don't think there's any like truly standout great team. Like, I think last year's Michigan team would beat any of these teams that are in this bracket. So I think anyone can win it. I just think Georgia has enough flaws that Notre Dame can exploit. And yeah. Y'all saying y'all would tear Will Howard apart. Georgia did not tear Jackson Dart apart. Georgia didn't tear Jalen Milroe apart. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Y'all looking at Georgia because it's Georgia. Like, it's the same team from the years past. It's a different Georgia team, yo. Like, completely different players. Players that frankly aren't as good as years past. So you can't just say, oh, it's Georgia, we're gonna bleep them because we have Kirby Smart. Like, it's just not that great of a team, which they've shown time and time again this year. My barometer for measuring someone's stupidity is what they say about if they think the reason Michigan was losing this year was because of not having Stallions, which, oh, by the way, they didn't have when they beat Bama last year. They didn't have when they beat Ohio State last year. They didn't have when they beat Penn State last year. They didn't have when they beat Washington last year. So that's kind of my barometer for like the stupidity of someone. So I'm not calling anyone stupid. I'm just saying that's my barometer for stupidity. So if you fall under, if you fall below the line, then you fall below the line. But yeah. Y'all are saying Michigan was overrated last year. Michigan's defense last year was probably one of the best college defenses of all time. And that's like not even close to that's not even close to an overstatement. Like Michigan's defense last year was would be by far the best defense in the field this year, like not even close. Their offensive line had like 6 draft picks or 5 draft picks. Receiving core had a few draft picks, first round quarterback. Michigan's last team was not overrated. Michigan's last team last year was a very, very, very elite team. Y'all right, y'all saying Boise. All right, let's look. Jeremiah Smith might be the best freshman ever. Ohio State got beat by Michigan. The main reason Ohio State got beat by Michigan was because Michigan has the one thing that no other team in this country has that they pretty much use to stop Ohio State, which is 2, not 1, but 2 elite first round defensive tackles. Michigan could essentially play with less players in the box and play with more guys deep. So that's why they were able to play in zone, have guys over the top of the receiving core or Ohio State's receivers. And Ohio State couldn't move their D tackles. They couldn't move their D ends. So Michigan's D line essentially was able to win them that game. Like they were able to say, yo, we know we're going to put you guys in a bad position, but we think you guys are better than Ohio State's guys. You guys are going to be able to win us the game. Guess what they did? Michigan's defensive line won them the game. That's why Ohio State threw so much. They knew Ohio State knew Will Howard wasn't an elite passer of the football. You saw it. He made a couple critical mistakes, couple huge, massive mistakes that ultimately changed the tide of the game. So they were like, all right, Michigan's going to come present a light box to us. We're going to run to the light box. But Michigan's D tackles are too good, so it didn't work out for them. I think if Tennessee tries that, well, Ohio State's able to run the ball on them. Tennessee brings more guys into the box, but now you're one-on-one on the outside. All right, we're going to throw it up to Jeremiah Smith. So Michigan, like Ohio State, yes, they had to have played one very certain specific way for Michigan to beat them. They did. Michigan presented to them, but Ohio State still had to play that way. But yeah, so I think the crazy thing is, I think every team in this, like every team aside from Arizona State and Boise State, it's probably the closest it's been in a while. Maybe last year was a close year, but I don't think there's any team that's like super far ahead of the pack outside of those top 6 teams. So Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia. I think all 6 of those teams are close enough in like terms of talent, in terms of how they've just played this year, to where I think any of those 6 have a shot to win. I just think a couple the teams with the better quarterbacks, those are the teams I would probably put a little bit higher. I don't even know what chat's saying. Nah, Michigan had zero, no passing threat on offense whatsoever. Like it was a very bad year for Michigan. Now, granted, I think their quarterback leaving, their coach leaving, bringing a bunch of assistants with them, and them playing in the national championship, so they couldn't really go through the portal like other teams, definitely screwed them. But it was a piss poor year for Michigan. Like, I'm not gonna deny that. So my picks for the rest of the bracket, we're gonna go Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Notre Dame. So then here we're gonna have Texas against Oregon. I like Oregon to win that game, so Oregon in the championship. And then here we got Penn State versus Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame to win it. And the championship, Oregon versus Notre Dame. I think Oregon wins that one. I think it's going to be like a 10-point type game, 11-point type game. But yeah, so I have Oregon winning the whole thing. I think these games, so this game, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, and then either Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, or Notre Dame, Georgia, Penn State are going to be like really good games. All right, y'all know it. We will see on. I want y'all to stamp this, right? New Year's Day, 1-1. We are gonna see who wins the Notre Dame Georgia game, and hey, we gonna see. We gonna see. We have no way of knowing till now. I know the SEC is undefeated in hypothetical matchups, so hypothetically Georgia blows Notre Dame out in that game. But I don't deal in hypotheticals. I deal in reality. So we will see. The reality is Georgia's rush defense against Georgia Tech and UMass was pitiful. They got put in a box against Ole Miss. So based on all that stuff, based on the stuff I've seen, I think Notre Dame has a real shot to win that game. Plus, Carson Beck's not playing, so Georgia has to break in a whole new quarterback. Yeah, like no. Notre Dame is the pick. I might go like Notre Dame minus like 5.5. Yeah, no, that's what I think. That's what I think. Whoever wins Oregon, Ohio State is probably the national champion. Y'all are saying Notre Dame lost to NIU. That was well earlier in the season. Notre Dame has, turned a corner since then. Their pass offense has got significantly better, like much, much better, to the point where if they play NIU again, they probably win that game. I mean, like Bama lost to Vanderbilt, so is Vanderbilt a terrible team? Like, all right, y'all saying the backup's better than Carson Beck? I promise you, if the backup was better than Carson Beck, he would be playing. I promise you that. Like, we've seen Kirby Smart not play. We've seen Kirby Smart play the backup over the starter before. How would Ohio State lose? I think Will Howard is more inconsistent than Dylan Gabriel. I think Oregon has the actual players on offense to challenge Ohio State secondary. I think Ohio State not having their offensive line be decimated. I think Oregon can take advantage of that. I don't think Oregon's going to be dumb enough to single cover the receivers all game. So yeah, that's kind of how Oregon wins that one. Like y'all saying Notre Dame lost to NIU, so they can't beat Georgia. That it doesn't make a ton of sense. Like it does. Like you have to explain. All right, King. Not King. Marquise, you're gonna have to explain to me what them losing to NIU truly means. Like, what does it mean if they've shown since then that there was probably an anomaly of a loss. Vols did not. The only thing the Vols got robbed of was their pride, I guess you could say. Ohio State took it from them, same way Michigan took Ohio State's pride. There was no ref influence over in that game whatsoever. That was straight belt to ass for 60 minutes. We're probably lucky it was even this close. Like, Tennessee was severely overmatched. I think Penn State has a chance. I think Penn State goes to the semifinals. I think they have a chance to go to the championship. I just like Notre Dame a little bit more than them. But yeah, no, I think Penn State definitely has a chance to go to the championship. All right, so Alabama faces top schools all year. SEC beats up on each other. Okay, so Alabama, they lost to Vanderbilt, right? So Vanderbilt, because they're in the SEC and they beat a couple teams this year. That means Vanderbilt would obviously go undefeated in other conferences, right? Except for the fact that if they were in the Sun Belt, they would have had a loss in the Sun Belt. So yeah, you can miss me with all the with Bama. All right, even Georgia, right? Georgia. Oh, they would dominate other teams in other conferences, but it's the SEC, so they're better than other teams. But they were like a couple very lucky calls away from losing to Georgia Tech, who, mind you, the game went to 8 overtimes. So Georgia Tech finished 7-5 in the ACC. So Georgia Tech wasn't a world beater. Georgia almost lost to them. Ole Miss wasn't a world beater. They lost to Kentucky. Georgia lost to them, and pretty handily. So just because Georgia won games doesn't mean they couldn't have also lost games, which is what the hypotheticals never bring up. Like I said, SEC's undefeated in hypotheticals. Why do I like Notre Dame over Penn State? Y'all saying Vanderbilt would be a strong team in any other conference? Dog, have y'all seen Vanderbilt's schedule, bro? Have y'all seen this? All right, so they beat Georgia Tech 34-27. I don't know if y'all watched this game early in the year. So they beat Virginia Tech in overtime. Virginia Tech finished 6-6. So, all right, it's not like they're blowing other teams out. Like, overtime win, very close. They lost to Georgia State 36-32. Holy shit, Georgia State finished 3-9. Okay, so wait, Georgia State wasn't a world beater either. Let's keep going through this. They lost to Missouri. Well, Missouri, if we look at them, barely beat Boston College, barely beat Vanderbilt, got smoked by Texas A&M, barely beat Auburn, got smoked by Bama, barely beat Oklahoma, needed Oklahoma's quarterback to do maybe the stupidest play one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen, to win that game. Lost to South Carolina, barely beat Arkansas. So Missouri wasn't that good. But they lost to Missouri. So they beat Bama, right? We've already established that. Of course, they're a good team because they beat Bama. They barely beat Kentucky, who, if we look at Kentucky, smoked by South Carolina. Okay, they barely beat Georgia, which I think says more about Georgia than says about Kentucky, but barely lost to Georgia. They beat Ole Miss. Okay, says probably more about Ole Miss than it does Kentucky. Lost to Vanderbilt, smoked by Florida, lost to Auburn, lost to Tennessee, smoked by Texas. Oh, wait. SEC teams, right? They're so good. SEC teams in other conferences would be undefeated. Definitely playoff teams. Oh, wait, no. They got smoked by Louisville in the ACC. So, who wasn't even a top 3 team in the ACC. What was Louisville? Oh, 8-4. Not even ranked. 4th in the ACC. So, yeah. Vanderbilt would be a mediocre team in the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12. They wouldn't have won any conference. So yeah, just because they're in the SEC doesn't mean they're a world-beating team. Doesn't mean they're a great team. They were average, like other 6-6 teams. You could say 7-5 teams, but like Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech, it's a toss-up. All right, so who are the SEC's heavy hitters? That's what I'm saying. Y'all are saying they have the heavy hitters because of the past. They don't have any heavy hitters this year. Like, a heavy hitter doesn't lose to Ole Miss and look terrible doing it. A heavy hitter doesn't go 44 or 42 against Georgia Tech. A heavy hitter doesn't give up 250 rush yards to UMass. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. If you got rid of the logos on the helmets, y'all would not be saying this about Georgia. I promise you that. Piss, that's what I'm saying. Like, people are saying Vanderbilt would be this world-beating team in other conferences, are ignoring the fact that Vanderbilt lost to teams in other conferences. Not even good teams in other conferences. All right, Bama's not good, or LSU was not good this year. LSU was not a good team. Bama, they were super, super flawed, which they showed multiple times. Ole Miss showed they were super, super flawed multiple times. If we go to Kentucky's schedule. Oh, wait. Look at that. Kentucky, who went 4-8. Got smoked by Louisville. Beat Ole Miss. But Kentucky, right? Because they're in the SEC, they would go undefeated in the ACC. Right? Am I doing that? Right? All right, Ole Miss. Okay, let's see. We lose to Kentucky, who we've already established. Not a great loss. Lost to LSU. LSU wasn't great. 26-14. Not a great great win over a Oklahoma team. Lost to Florida. Now you could say Florida was playing better because of Lagway, but mind you, this is a Florida team that gave up what they gave up to Miami. Let's look. See how many points Florida gave up to Miami. 41. They gave up 41 points to Miami, but I'm supposed to believe that Ole Miss scoring 17 points against Florida is better for some reason. Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Marquise, Graham Mertz doesn't play defense. Graham Mertz didn't give up 41 points. Like, Graham Mertz didn't give up 41 points, right? So Graham Mertz Graham Mertz didn't give up 41 points. Graham Mertz didn't give up 385 passing yards. Yeah, like, no, I'm not saying Notre Dame's loss didn't hold weight, or Notre Dame's early loss didn't hold weight. That's why I'm saying Notre Dame's a flawed team. If Notre Dame wins that game, I'm saying they're probably less of a flawed team. What I'm saying is Notre Dame, since that game, has not lost. They've won out since that game. If they lost after that loss, they're not in the playoffs. Ole Miss, all they had to do was win, and they were in. Guess what? They lost. No. It 100% holds weight. Like, if Notre Dame had lost the second game, whichever game it was, I would say get them out. Really, the only reason Notre Dame is as high as they were was because they kept winning and everyone else kept losing. Like, at some point, you have to say, all right, like, you know, this is a bad loss. Because what they get dropped to after that game? Notre Dame got dropped. But they lose. All right, so they lost week 2. Where's the rankings? So Notre Dame lost what, week 2, we said? Let's go to the rankings. All right, wait, so Notre Dame, all right, so they were ranked 5th in the week 2 ranking. Notre Dame dropped to 18th. So Notre Dame went from 5th to 18th. Mind you, Michigan was ranked higher than them. LSU was ranked higher than them. Oklahoma was ranked higher than them. Kansas State, Oklahoma State was ranked higher than them. Utah, USC. So what did they do since this? They just kept winning. So they dropped 13 spots. Let's look at like week 10. All right, week 10. They move up. Why did they move up? Because LSU lost. Clemson lost. I don't know if Ohio State lost. Who else? I don't know if anyone else lost ahead of them. Let's go to like week 11. Week 11 stayed the same. Actually, the college football playoff ranking. So Notre Dame started at 10, right? Oh, Miami lost then ahead of them. So they get bumped down. Georgia got that's the week Georgia got blown out by Ole Miss. So they fell down. Look at that. Notre Dame just keeps on winning. Keeps on winning. We have Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana ahead of them. Well, Indiana, they got the brakes beat off of them. So Indiana drops. Notre Dame moves up. So it's not that Notre Dame didn't get punished for the loss. They definitely got punished. They just kept on winning and everyone else kept on losing. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So, like, all this stuff was taken into account. I just think, you know, at some point, like, the results on the field matter. Notre Dame showed in the results, oh, shit, we can, like, we're just going to keep winning. Everyone else is going to keep losing. So they moved up. Sean, I will say Florida ended the season looking like a top 25 team. I will say, I don't know if they were necessarily the greatest top 25 team, but like they definitely showed something to me at the end of the season. Now, I don't think LSU was that good, so I think the LSU win was a little like, LSU's not that great. I mean, Lagway, him being out against Georgia and Texas, that definitely hurt them. I think if he plays the whole game against Georgia, they win that. I don't know if they had enough firepower to score against Texas this game. But it definitely would have been interesting. I think Florida was definitely a team that was on the rise. Nah, that's facts. All teams are 100% flawed this year. Uh, who said Arkansas would have win the ACC? Dog, Arkansas lost to the worst team in the Big 12. Uh, yeah, Arkansas lost to the worst team in the Big 12 game. But my big thing with the 12 team playoff is I've been saying, when you were the fifth ranked team and you had one loss on the year, or you had like one loss on the year, I could understand your gripe. I had some sympathy for you. When you're the 13th, 14th, 15th ranked team and have three losses, and your losses are bad losses, there's no sympathy for me. Like, there's no like, oh man, like, they were deserving. No, you weren't deserving at all. We can tout hypothetical this, hypothetical that. We don't know. You know why? Because you're Bama. You lost to Vanderbilt, who lost to Georgia State. So we really don't know who you were capable of losing to. So we can't just say, oh, they would have for sure won that game. I can see either Oregon or Ohio State winning that game. I have it as a toss up. Have it as a toss up for sure. See, I don't know if the defense improved significantly since the loss to Oregon, or is just more a byproduct of they didn't really play anybody. Like, we go to Ohio State's schedule. So they lost to Oregon. Nebraska doesn't really have a pass offense that compares to Oregon. Penn State certainly doesn't. Purdue, no. Northwestern, no. Indiana, no. Their lines are significantly worse. Michigan, no. So is it really Ohio State defense got significantly better, or they just didn't play really anyone on par with Oregon? Because if you look at before the Oregon game, it's not like they were really giving up points. So the elite team they played on their schedule, Oregon, they lost to. They gave up points to. They looked susceptible to deep passes. They were getting bombed over. Tennessee definitely didn't have an elite passing game. So yeah, no, I don't know if it's so much Ohio State's defense improved as they just played worse teams. Oh, it's definitely hard to beat a team twice. I think Ohio State, though, losing a lot of their interior line from the first matchup, definitely makes it gives Oregon a more favorable matchup to win. No, that's facts. I don't think anyone had a great defense this year. I think Texas had the best one. I think Texas had a good one. Ohio State had a good one. But I don't know if they're as good as some of the past, like, best defenses. Like, Michigan's defense last year was an elite defense. Like, definitely would have been elite across years. Georgia's, the 2 years before that, were elite. I don't think Ohio State's defense this year is as elite across the board. I don't know if they have a great pass rusher. I think they have a good run defense. I don't know if they have a great pass rush. I don't know how great their corners are. Their corners are a little shaky to me. So yeah, I don't think there's like a truly elite defense in the country this year. That's why I'm a fan of the transfer portal, though. I think it is kind of a good thing to have a little bit of parity. I think, Georgia hoarding, having an entire D line of 5 stars, an entire backup of 5 stars, and then, their third string being 4 stars. I don't think that was good for the sport, right? I think, all right, you're not playing at Georgia. I bet I'm gonna transfer to let's say I'm gonna transfer to Indiana. All right, now Indiana has a couple guys that, well, they might not have established themselves the way the guys at Georgia have. Well, they're of a similar athletic like profile, right? So now, obviously, I don't think Indiana has any Georgia transfers, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? So, like, there are more teams now that you're Arizona State, right? You don't get the best athletes ever out of high school. Oh, but now a guy like Zach Branch transfers in, who is an elite athlete. Now, did he establish himself at USC? Not really, but he's still the type of athlete, the caliber of athlete that you need to be able to compete with a Texas. So I think as time goes on, we'll see more and more talent just at different places, which will in turn make it so we don't just see the hoarding at the top with the best teams. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah. So we see Georgia, like, a bunch of their guys leave, go all over the place. We have some Georgia guys on Texas, some Georgia guys on, or some Georgia guys on Texas, or Bama guys, my fault. Bama guys on Texas, Bama guys on Ohio State, Bama guys on Oregon. So now people will definitely go where the most money is, but I think as we see more schools start to have like not necessarily more schools, but I think there's going to be a more defined. There's going to be a higher upper tier, right? So before the upper tier, like bro, in 2018, the upper tier was Bama, Clemson. That's really it, right? Like those were the two teams where everyone else that wasn't those two, they were getting blown out by them. 2019, LSU, that was like clearly the top team. 2021, Georgia, clearly the top team. 2022, Georgia, very clearly the top team. Now, Ohio State pushed them to the brink, but Georgia was still like, you know, the more superior talented team. I think we're going to see more team like that level of top team is going to be brought down some. The teams that were like a tier below, they're going to be brought up some. So now we're going to have just a bigger top tier of more teams. So I was in the NFL for a hot second, you know, unfortunately having tendonitis in both your knees. Yeah, you know, when you're a little bit, kind of makes you damaged goods. Kind of hard to make it in the NFL as damaged goods, you could say. But, you know, I think I did for where I started my career, for where I was, you know, being a junior in high school, playing on JV, making it to where I made it. Yeah, I have no qualms with my journey, no issue. You know, I can sleep well at night knowing I maximized everything in my career. So that's the big thing I say to people is just make sure when you lay your head down on that pillow, you really feel like you did everything you could do in all aspects of your life. If you feel like that, then, you know, you might have got screwed by something, but you can ultimately like sleep. If you know you were the reason you screwed up, that makes it a lot harder to deal with. That makes life a lot harder to go through. So just always make sure you're doing things to where, all right, you control what you control. Let the cards play out. If they play out in your favor, great. If they don't, well, you know, you did everything you could do. So, you know, if it's not meant to be, sometimes it's not meant to be. Nah, Marquise, that is what I think too. I think that's why we saw a lot more upsets this year. I think that's why we saw a lot more of like the, you know, teams at the top in close games because they're just more talent spread out. So teams aren't as deep. Teams are going against teams that are more talented. So yeah, no, there's definitely going to be the ability for more upsets moving forward, I think. Uh Quan, I don't even what state are you in? No, I was not in the Clemson movie. How'd I end up going D1 if I was a junior in or on JV junior year? So, if you want to know the story behind that, you can go to my YouTube channel. It is actually pinned on my page. So you go on my YouTube, HNTR27. Yeah, pinned on the page. Got a whole video talking about that. Because it is a long story. So yes, long story. So we don't probably have enough time to tell it right now. And when I'm trying to read chat and tell stories, I usually get not mixed up, but you know, it's kind of hard. So we'll see, Quan. We'll see. I can't make any guarantees right now on December 22nd. Can't do that. But holy shit, we still got 64 people in here. And we got 64 people in here. Let's just get a few likes real quick. Let's, you know, y'all like up. Y'all like up. But nah, I don't think we'll ever get back to one team just dominating. I think you can play college without playing in high school. You probably have to be a walk on somewhere. I don't even know what the walk on process is gonna be like in a little bit, but nah, you can definitely still play in college. It's just not gonna be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Promise y'all that. All right, well, I think I've talked about enough football, as much football as I can. Well, there's still people in here though. Let's I don't know, y'all ask questions, I guess. Bunch of y'all in here, let's ask questions. I don't think FSU will be good next year. I don't think so. I think the year they had in 23 was kind of like, holy shit, everything worked in the transfer portal. I mean, I was kind of a part of that in 2021 at Utah State. Like, we brought in a shit ton of transfers. And it really worked out. Like everyone kind of clicked, everyone meshed, team just gelled, and we won the conference championship. Finished 11-3, top 25. The next year, run a bunch of transfers again, and it just did not mesh the same way. I think when you live and die by the portal, you get the years where it works, you get the years it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, it's very hard to try and convince people to like go to that school the next year. So like Florida State trying to get people to go to Florida State next year is probably going to be tough for them. Colorado, how's the season look next year? I think they'll be decent. I don't know if they'll be 10 and what are they, 10-2? I think they'll be around like 8 to 10 wins next year. Uh, hey, appreciate that. Piz. Appreciate that. Nah, brings more football. I enjoy it. Sorry you a softie and don't like new rules. Wait, Tyler, I don't even know. I don't even know what you're talking about, gang. Uh, yeah, no, I got. Wait, who? Utah State? Yeah, I got a ring from Utah State. I was starting safety on that team. I don't know about. I don't know. Michigan would not compete better. Michigan just the lack of a passing offense. It was egregious, but nah, Aiden. I feel. I mean, if they're gonna do it, if they're gonna stick with 12 teams, you definitely just have to do the top four rank. The top four ranked teams are the get the buys, not the top four conference champions. So I think we'll see that, but it is that's not what needs to be happening. If I had to make a prediction for next year's one seed, I would probably go Texas. I'd probably go Texas is my prediction for next year's one seed. Uh, no, I don't think Georgia got it. I think Georgia loses to Notre Dame. Been saying that since the bracket dropped. Y'all can look back. I have a video on it, but yeah, I think Notre Dame loses. Braden Bama should not have been in. No, Brandon Bama should not have been in. Cam, I kind of like that too. I like the top four teams and get in by reseed after the first round. I think it ensures that whoever wins their like Oregon, it would ensure they get kind of they get the best draw. Now, I think also too, like the problem is you have Ohio State who's ranked higher than Boise State and Arizona State behind them. So like they shouldn't really be the eighth seed. I think if you just did like a whole, all right, whatever teams are in here, we're gonna rank you guys from 1 to 8. So like Oregon, you're 1, Georgia 2. It would be like I think Texas 3, Penn State 4, Ohio State 5, Boise State 6. I think I missed someone, but Notre Dame's 5, I think. Boise State 6. I don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. I don't think it would be Ohio State, Penn State. I don't. I don't. I guess. Well, I mean, you never know. Though. Like I said, it's very close at the top. I think Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, all have a legitimate shot. Uh, Liam, I played football in real life. Used to be a safety, Michigan and Utah State. I'm gonna lie, Brandon, that's crazy because as a Michigan fan, I hope Ohio State loses literally every game they play. I've never watched an Ohio State game and hope they won. So yeah, no, there is no shot. I hope if I was an Arizona fan, I'd be rooting for Arizona State. No, Ohio State can 100% go all the way. It's just more so I don't think they will. No, Dorian, I do not want Ohio State to win at all. I was hoping I picked Ohio State to beat Tennessee. I hoped Tennessee beat them. But I thought Ohio State was gonna blow them out. I think Oregon's gonna win. I hope Oregon's gonna win. Nah, that's facts. Texas for sure putting belts on Arizona State. Penn State putting belts on Boise State. I think Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon will be good games. But yeah, no. Texas, Arizona State, Penn State, Boise State definitely belts ass. Hey man, I don't care. I would never root for Michigan State. Still Michigan, never root for them ever. Let me keep up with chat. Let me keep up. Hey, by the way, if TikTok gets shut down, y'all follow me on Twitch, right? Y'all, it's 119 of y'all. Y'all follow me on Twitch, Hunt_XXVII. Let me throw it up on the screen real quick. Hunt_XXVII. You feel me? Y'all follow me on there. We're really trying to get the Twitch popping off, right? And I feel like on Twitch we can do a lot more than we can in TikTok Live. So y'all follow me on Twitch. This whole stream is probably gonna be on there too. But yeah, no. Let's hey, even if TikTok stay here, y'all still follow me on Twitch. You feel me? Like streaming on Twitch just way better of an experience. We trying to get that more popping. You feel me? So the clips and stuff, we're gonna keep uploading those, keep growing. We've grown on Twitch a little bit in the last few since we really started locking in on streaming. But you know, we trying to grow over there. We trying to take everything over there. You feel me? Nah, I'm not trying to go to the NFL no more. My knees are officially cooked. High key, my knees were cooked even when I was playing. My knees have been cooked since like 2019. So I played the last 2019, 2021. Yeah, so I played 4 years of my career. Tendonitis in both my knees. Ended up, you know, kind of being able to push through it, persevere. But you know, once you get to the NFL, it's like, damn, any little thing you got wrong with you, trust me, they will find out. They will know about it. They will talk to everyone in your past. So yeah, it was pretty hard to be like, yeah, no, it's not affecting me. Like, you know, I'm good. It was like, nah, you're done, buddy. You're done. So yeah, no, it was, yeah, I'm done though. I'm done. So full-time content creator, you feel me? So we got to the point where we blew up enough while we were playing to where I was like, all right, if I push kind of, I should be able to like kind of grow it to enough to where I'm making enough to sustain myself. So, you know, 2023, it was a little tough, right? 2023 it was like, all right, we're just getting things off the ground. We're struggling. We got to think about paying different people. It's like, oh man. But 2024, that's when it was really like, all right, shit took off. Started making, you know, real money. And yeah, so the content only gonna be getting better and better. So y'all stick around, y'all stay tuned on TikTok, or not TikTok, no, TikTok too, but really YouTube, Twitch, those are the two platforms where it's like, all right, we really gonna grow on there. Nah, never go Bucks, never that. Nah, I agree. Arizona State, Boise State should not have a bye for sure. Uh, High key Zeke, no, actually no, because I went to Utah State, so no, I do not. I do not hope Boise State wins at all. I hope Boise State gets blown out next round. A dog. Bro, I've already been in the high school football scene. See, that's how I know y'all not tapped in, right? You got to go to YouTube, go to the Friday Night Lights playlist. Trust me, we got nothing but bangers over there. Matter of fact, let's go YouTube. Let's go playlists. Where we at?
The season.
Friday Night Lights, man. Hey, we got nothing but bangers over here. Hella games. Players going crazy. What was my favorite one of the year? High key game of the year. Game of the year.
Thriller, suspenseful.
5 overtimes to South Prep, St. Joe's Prep. We're just gonna watch the intro. Shit went crazy.
4 seconds left. Yo, we're going overtime, man. I don't know how, but we are going overtime.
I gotta watch the mix too, the pregame mix. Oh, this shit crazy. Nah, this game was for sure crazy. Game was for sure crazy.
This is probably the best game we've been through the whole series. We are back, episode 8.
Episode 8, you feel me? Season went crazy. I was kind of sick, bro, because the NJSIAA, like the like, you know, governing body of New Jersey sports, they wasn't gonna let me do the like state championship game. So I was like, damn, we kind of got to end the series early. But yeah, no, we definitely like been, that was year 2 of it. So year 2 was way better than year 1, I can tell you that much. But yeah, we're gonna just keep growing it. We definitely gonna be in the 7-on-7 scene this off season. So like I said, man, we got a lot of stuff in store for the content. Yeah, we gonna keep going up with it. You feel me? Hey, what's that? We say that Keel G. Oh, I'm just saying Keel. Hey man, I'm trying to be the next. I'm trying to be the first hunt. You feel me? The first hunt, the next hunt. I'm trying to be me, do things how I do things. Right? I'm not trying to imitate anyone else, copy anyone else. You know, I'm not afraid to say like, oh, someone has an idea. I think it'll be fine. Like I'll take that idea, put my own twist on it, and execute it. It's kind of like football, right? Offensive coordinators, whoever like they run inside zone, they run four verticals. They don't say, "Oh, someone else ran four verticals. I'm not gonna do it." No, they try and put their little twist on it, right? So I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be always be Hunt, and yeah, we're gonna do stuff how we do stuff, and then you know, hopefully y'all mess with it. If y'all do, just let me know. All I ask y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You feel me? Like I said, 100,000 subs. The silver plaque, that is the goal for 2025. I'm gonna get it. You feel me? I'm not even gonna say I think I'm gonna get it. No, I'm gonna get that shit. I promise y'all that. Y'all could we can save this, right? Save this moment right here. I promise y'all 2025, I'm gonna have the plaque. So that's all I know. Oh shit, you got a matter day? Oh, nah, I'm moving to Arizona, so I'm gonna be on the West Coast more. Definitely gonna start pulling up on the West Coast schools. You feel me? It was on the East Coast a bunch this year. It was at Bergen, Bosco, St. Joe's Prep, St. Joe's Montvale. We were at St. Francis. We saw IMG a few times. We saw LaSalle Prep. So we saw some ballers on the East Coast. You feel me? We gonna tap in on the West Coast. High key, I was on the West Coast, not West Coast, but I was on the West Side too, right? I was in Arizona this year. We were in Utah this year. So we, like I said, we was expanding the content. We made it to more places. It's only gonna keep getting up, going better. All right. So transfer portal experience. There are kind of two. There are a few types of transfers, right? There's a transfer where you didn't play at all, so you're just trying to go somewhere and like play. Usually you're dropping like a few levels, so you'd be going from like, you know, Michigan to let's say like Youngstown State or something like that. You have the guys who like, all right, they balled out as when they were younger, they balled out, so they're gonna go to a school that's like, you know, a little higher. So think Riley Leonard, right, going from Duke to Notre Dame. So it's kind of like a 1-year rental. Like, yo, we need a experienced veteran at this position. We're gonna go there. I was more so the experienced veteran that had a little bit of film, got a little bit of playing time, but it was probably going to be in my best interest in terms of getting playing time to drop down a level, and that's what I was looking for, right? I was looking for just an opportunity to be a starter. So I went from Michigan to Utah State, right? Group Power 5 to Group of 5. Ended up having a lot more playing time, but my thing was I'm not trying to go somewhere and just, you know, be a depth piece or right at the bench and be like a special teams guy. It's like, no, I'm trying to go somewhere and start. So that's kind of what led me to go to Utah State. But you definitely gotta move quick in the portal because people are committing like that. So if you waste time, you might be left behind. We played Bishop. Nah, trust me, I know who Matter Day plays. Drew, ASU does not beat Texas. Arizona State is not winning that game. So when I went to the transfer portal, who reached out? So I heard from in the portal. I heard from schools. I heard from were Indiana, Louisville, Minnesota. Who else? I know a couple of West Virginia coaches followed me. I heard from so the schools I was talking to the most though was James Madison, Louisiana Monroe, I think, or maybe Lafayette. I don't remember. Utah State. And then, what's the other school? I want to say it might have been New Mexico State, perhaps. I don't really remember, right? But so I'm talking to Minnesota, heavy at the time. And then coach just one day, he's like, yo, I'm going to come back, like hit you, like with what our head coach says. We really like your film, though. So, yeah, I'm going to see. Never heard back from him. So I was like, all right, well, move on. Well, look, I wasn't going to go there anyway because I felt like they were bringing me in as a depth piece. So I was like I told y'all, wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to be a starter. Not a starter, but somewhere where it was more so that was what they were looking for, right? So then it was between Utah State and James Madison. If James Madison, so at that time they were still FCS, that was their last year of FCS football. If James Madison had been Group of 5, like in the Sun Belt, I probably would have went James Madison. But I was like, all right, James Madison, FCS, Utah State, Group of 5, Mountain West. You know, I know Mountain West. I've seen a bunch, like, you know, during the draft and all that stuff, following the NFL. I know a bunch of guys from the Mountain West are in the league. So I was like, all right, that's kind of the goal, right? Is to put myself in position to make the league. So I was like, all right, we're going to go to the Mountain West, ball out, and, you know, hopefully put ourselves in a position, which I did accomplish that goal. So that was, you know, it was like, all right, right decision. Hey man, who knows? Maybe Bryce Underwood's out in 3 years. Kirk Herbstreit's kid waits like 4 or 5 years and waits 4 or 5 years and ends up, starting his last two or something like that. Who knows? Like who knows? With the transfer portal, hey, you go to the school, you don't fuck with it, you can dip at any time. So that's probably what he's gonna do. Uh what time is it for me? It is 1:40 a.m., Rafe. 1:40. I don't really be I mean it's the weekend, so I don't really be going to sleep. But yeah. Catholic high schools for sure win a lot of state championships because they get players, they get the best players. I got Oregon for Ohio State. Hey, if you got drip, drop it in the Discord. You feel me? The Discord week. What did I? I think I updated the week. I hope I did. Else I am screwed on Tuesday. Okay, no, I did. Yeah, week 12 for the drip. Y'all see it right here. Week 12. Focus. Week 12, drip or skip. Y'all drop it in there. But yeah, no, we be going crazy with the drip or skip. Low-key, it's been a very successful series, so we're gonna keep doing it. King, y'all probably don't know this. During the COVID season, like when all the college football players were doing protests, I was like one of the main leaders behind all that stuff. So a lot of the stuff that you see in college football today, the players getting paid, some of the player empowerment stuff, I was a very big component behind that. Now, I don't think I'm gonna get like a ton of credit, but no, I was definitely did my part in trying to get all this established. Hi, Keith. Let's see if we can. Let's see. Hunter Reynolds College Athletes Unity. Let's see. Detroit Free Press, New York Times, Michigan Daily, NJ.com. And under the heading Pac-12 Football Unity demands a group, blah, blah, blah. Michigan quarterback Hunter Reynolds, he was a safety at the time, watched the interest of the Pac-12 players' proposal reverberated around the country. Reynolds represents the Wolverines on the Big Ten Anti-Hate, Anti-Racism Coalition, a group formed in the wake of George Floyd's killing and the nationwide protests that followed. He also helped to create College Athlete Unity, a group focused on promoting racial justice and holding schools accountable for players' well-being. So some of the stuff we talked about in there, actually, so a lot of it was COVID protocols, but a lot of it was, or part of it also was like, yo, we want more player empowerment stuff. So we had some player empowerment things in there, but yeah, no. So I was one of the early proponents of NIL. I don't want to say I'm the reason it happened or the reason any of this stuff happened, but I was a big part of it. I'll say that. Nays, do you have an idea teams were interested in getting you before you entered the portal? No. So tampering only happened. Yeah, so this is why the transfer portal is so funny to me, because all the stuff that people say are problems with it are like problems that occur like maybe 1% of the time. Like for the most part, a lot of players the end of the portal aren't getting tampered with. They're guys who are at a school, want more playing time, so they'll transfer somewhere else in search of more playing time. They're not getting, money to jump in the portal. Most guys aren't, right? Now, there are guys who schools hit them up like, yo, we want you on our team, hop in the portal, we'll pay you X amount of bread in NIL. That's not the norm. That's not the majority of cases. That's not what most people are in the portal was happening for them. So it's like a very big misconception, I feel like. No, in fact, not. Niggas definitely getting paid before they get in the portal or before they hit the league. So it's crazy, but no, I was hoping Ohio State lost, but the silver lining was all right. Now the SEC people can shut up because Tennessee got blown out. So, it was like damn, Ohio State won, fuck. But it was like, okay, Tennessee, they got blown out. So SEC, their narrative is crushed. I like Georgia. Yes, Ethan, I did. I was a preferred walk on to Michigan. So preferred walk on, and then ended up earning a scholarship. Who was the best player that I played with? So It was this receiver named Devin Tompkins, played at Utah State. Let's see if he's a highlight or anything. Devin Tompkins highlights. All right, let's make sure. Oh, it doesn't get demonetized. Yeah, like just bomb downfield. Fast as shit, bro. Fast, and he wasn't big. He was like maybe 5'8", maybe 5'8", like 150, 165. But nah, could fly, could jump. Like, bro, he was able to do a backflip and land it on one leg. Like, super athletic. Where's the play though? He was actually the I want to say the third leading receiver in the country this year. Like just straight blurs, straight like, what's your favorite color? Blur. Let's see. There's one player in particular I want to see. Like over the top, snag, straight hands. Y'all might have seen this play. It was Cooper, our quarterback Cooper. It was his first pass ever. Like, bro, just a straight burner. Only 5'7". He's still in the league right now. He's on the he is on the Panthers right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Panthers right now. But nah, definitely a dog. What was his stats that year? What was his stats? I don't want this. Ugh, why does it look like this? That is disgusting. Season leaders. 2021. Second leading receiver in the country. Yep. 102 catches, 1,700 yards, 16.7, long 75, 10 touchdowns. No, he was the best receiver, best player probably I played with. I would say pound for pound. I guess you could say other players, Aiden Hutchinson, Kwity Paye, Nico Collins, but not DT. He was a dog for sure. No, I would never go to a military academy for football. That's just not who I was. Not who I was, not what I wanted out of life. So, not me. I'm not knocking anyone that goes there. I made a video saying like the Army-Navy game is terrible football. People took it as like I'm saying, yo, the troops, like they acted like I said, yo, I hate the troops. The troops suck. Like, bro, I said I don't really enjoy watching the game. They took that out of proportion, but comprehension, not a big thing, not a big skill in the world no more. But yeah, no, it's not me. Carson Beck is out. Yes. Ethan, nah, I don't play college football anymore. I played college football for 6 long years from 2017 to 2022. Was in the NFL for a hot second, and now we're just doing content. But hey man, like I said before, happy about my career, how it turned out. Like I said, I was playing JV as a junior in high school. If you told people I would even have a chance to make the NFL, even play D1, they would have laughed at me, laughed at you. So, I can put my head down at night knowing what I did in my career, knowing that I took a situation where probably most people wouldn't have made it as far as I did, as far as I did. So it's like, all right, man, if like I maximized everything, right? It's kind of all about maximizing your situation. So if you're in a situation and you don't maximize it, then that's on you. But I was able to maximize it, so I can sleep at night, sleep comfortably. But let's see. We are at 2 hours and 10 minutes. It is 1:48. High key, I thought this was gonna be a 20-minute stream, yo. Like I said, professional yapper. Definitely what I am. Definitely a yapper. But yeah, we're gonna end it there, man. Appreciate y'all being on. Like I said, those of y'all on TikTok, follow me on Twitch. It is on the screen, Hunt_XXVII. Y'all subscribe on YouTube. You feel me? But yeah, no. One last question: who's the best coach you had in the league or in college? I would say Coach Anderson when I was at Utah State. My guy to this day. Forever grateful for him for taking a chance on me out the portal. But I loved him. Loved him as a coach, as a man too. So, but we gonna end it there, man. Hey, peace. Love all y'all. Good night. I need sleep for sure.